Most people will tape, when doing the corners, they'll just cut off a 45 on each side and push it together. And it seems like that would work until you try putting it in, and then you realize in the act of nailing this stuff in, what you end up doing is when you put the nails in, you put pressure here and there, and what it does is it opens up a gap there. Whereas with here, the pressure is just one direction up against there. So the more I push, the more I actually push it together. Now, I'm still gonna have to use some caulk at the joint because it's not perfect, because we are just all over the place on these walls. These are wavy walls. And that's okay, because if you can hide the problems in construction, that's just as good as not having them. As long as we're dealing with decorative and not structural. There we go. Let's grab a brad nailer, put this doodad in. Oh, we want to be fussy. All right. Now I did make a mistake when I put in all these original longer pieces, because I just put in 4 longer pieces around there. What I should have done was 45 off the butt ends, because I incorrectly assumed that they were 45 off already, and they're not. Oh, come on. So it creates a little more caulking for me to do there, which is all right. Yeah, we got a bit of a gap there, but again, you don't have pressure constantly pushing this gap apart. So once I fill that in with caulk, that'll be fine. Alrighty. So let me show you how I make that joint. Let me make sure I got this on, because this is good stuff. Okay. So we're going to make that piece right there. So let's go back. Let me show you this. This is going to go into there. So what I want to do is I want to make a 45-degree cut there so that it creates this profile of the trim piece, so that when I use the coping saw to kind of cut out the profile and push it in, it fits in there better. It makes a better joint. Here's a joint where I've already caulked. I might come back and caulk that again, but you can see where I've got that profile kind of going in there and fitting in nicely. Once it's caulked and painted, you'll never see it. So what we do here, set the saw at 45 degrees. Okay, so we 45 that off. And you're gonna say, wait, that doesn't go in there. No, not yet. I'm gonna mark this edge right here. This is a trick I learned from an old carpenter to just maintain that edge, make it easier to see. Now, this next trick, you gotta be good at it, but I give myself a head start using the table saw. And I'm just putting the teeth down there to see exactly. a table saw to give myself a head start on the coping. Do not do that unless you are very practiced. Usually I have that clamp in there the other way, but it's easier filming this way. Let's see. So let's see. And some of you will notice right away what I just did. Yep, right into the table. Knucklehead. Anyway, so that, oh, I can't forget my pencil. There we go. Which corner were we gonna do? Do I have enough? Ooh, we're gonna do this one. Maybe I can preserve as much material as possible. Okay, so see that profile fits in there, and then we come back here and I figure out where I'm gonna make my cut there. We go back. Back to our 90. Sorry. I think I cut that a touch long, maybe a 16th, but based on what I've been having to deal with, it'll be fine. Okay, now I want that to line up a little bit better. I have a little pry bar somewhere, but this is working fine for right now. There we go, that's good. So let's put a rat in there. That'll hold that. That's looking nice. Again, I was looking for kind of like a low profile crown molding because I didn't want some like crazy decorative crown molding. It's a kid's room, it's a boy's room especially, and it wouldn't have fit. So I saw this, I think this is actually for siding if I'm not mistaken. But I was looking at it and I was like, you know, that actually would make what I was looking for in terms of crown molding. So I just bought it. It'll work, you know. It's, that gap opened up a lot. I'll have to, I kind of want to see now what that will do. Just make sure. This is a kind of dry caulk, but just want to make sure that'll look all right. That should look fine. I'll just have to put heavy bead in there. So I like it. And best news of all, I showed it to my wife and she said it's fine. So, inside joke for anybody married for more than 5 minutes. Alrighty, I just don't want to work with a long piece, so let's make a cut off of this piece here. Right about there. Give me plenty of material to work with. And this is cheap. This stuff is like $2 $2 a linear foot. So let's go back and double check, make sure we did this right. Give yourself enough meat to play with. Yep, okay. So we're gonna 45 this off here and then do our profile cut. And some of you are seeing me do this one of two ways. So if I did the cut up this way, I'd have to obviously come over to this side and turn the saw this way. However, this base being thicker than this, it's actually more stable for me to put it down this way. So I just do it in reverse. See, I see the direction of my cut so that I know when I lay it down like this, it's making the cut in the proper direction. I'm gonna put the saw teeth down. Now this has one of those laser guides, but I don't trust it. It's off by about a 1/16. So I check it against the teeth. And you see, even as I have the blade down there, you see how the laser is still showing on like about a 1/16 onto the wood? That's how off those things are. So they are a general guide for rough construction, but are not to be trusted for doing detailed trim work. And there's my knife. Snake, it would have bit me. So. I cut a bit much there. I don't like that. Let me shave off another snoop. Let's shave off a little more. This is nice that I gave myself the extra material to correct my work with. And I'm gonna actually leave that. No, I'm not. I'm gonna just do what I know how to do, like a professional, sort of. Professional amateur, that's the right word. There we go. Ah! Warning about this one in particular. When you let go of the trigger, it kicks down. This is irritating. Now in this case, it's no loss because it's just a little bit of material and I had excess material, but you got to worry about that kick down if you got your hands too close. Now let's not cut the table this time. I'll still do my guide mark here. It took a lot longer than it needed to, but you know, of course everything went fine until we turned the camera on. Let's see here. Sit for a second. That brad nailer is possibly my favorite tool in terms of the cordless tools. If it's second to anything, it's second only to my Bosch drill. Okay. And honestly, I think I went overkill with when I purchased the table saw. You probably don't need one quite this heavy duty. Not heavy duty. You don't need a compound sliding table saw. I could have got one with just a 10-inch blade going up and down and accomplished all this, but it's what I bought, it's what I have. Oh, it goes in there nice and tight. All right. Cool. Let's put this over in here. Is that we're ready to go in here? One thing I want to point out that I did different with the two rooms. In my son's room, I didn't want to take down the light fixture, so I tried cutting this and sliding the board in, and it just made too much extra work. So in my daughter's room, I took off the light fixture, kept the lines. I tried to I did a terrible job cutting a hole, but went up nicer. And so I recommend that method, just cutting a nicer hole. I was trying to use, one of my brilliant ideas is I got rotozip blades. I thought, you know what? I bet you can use these in a screwdriver just like a rotozip, and it's just as easy, I'm sure. And it is not. It's just a pain in the butt. So I cut that with a jigsaw, and it'll work. It's not pretty. So now we are going to caulk. Here's my caulk. Where's the caulking gun? There you are. Get this adhesive to it. I made a big blunder on this one by starting the drywall on that end rather than this end. It was just a total stupid move because I probably could have spanned these two spots here and had a nice anchor on both sides, as opposed to this side where I don't. So I put a lot of adhesive on this. I'm using the drywall lift with 2x4s to hold it up in place. I'm going to use that method of the drywall anchors to kind of sink it up there and just hold it there. And you know, if it becomes a problem, we'll fix it. Not the end of the world. But just a thing to look out for. Alright, let's start you over here.